Hello, good evening and welcome to the Little Farmer's Farm with me, Guru Mafinda. And today, potentially, it's going to be a big day. There's a lot of weeding to do and a lot of clearing and tidying to do as usual, but there's a hell of a lot to do. The weather conditions have been such that the weeds have really taken over. And I've got some harvesting to do as well. I've got some beetroot to take up and I've got plenty of onions to take up. So there's plenty to do, weather permitting. It's been off and on, sort of drizzly rain. So we'll see how we get on. So I'm going to start off up here in the Lady Farmer's polytunnel. I've just taken two of those plants out that have gone yellow at the end. These yellowing specimens, I'm just checking them for any viability. If we've got any new growth on that's producing flower, producing blossom, they maybe spurred the pogrom, but if not, then they're coming out, these. See these ones here, they are still, or they've started to produce fruit again. Some of the plants, some of the ones with the lush greenness on the leaves, they've still got the good leaf growth, the new leaf growth. I'm going to leave those in and give them a bit more space. I'm going to take off quite a lot of this yellow or yellowing leaf, because that means that the plant isn't too healthy. So I'm going to take those out. I think I'll take that whole plant out and then we'll see where we are with the rest of it and see if I can continue to trellis on a little bit, you know, let them spread the wings down this way. There were two plants there that I've cut off, if you can see there. I've cut them off at the bases and removed them. And it's exposed some viability behind it. It's looking like potentially we're going to get more cucumbers there at the back. But anything that's deemed as a waste of time, I'm going to chop back. It's worth a punt because I've nothing else to put in here anyway, so we may well get more fruit coming on. There's two there, as you can see. We've got two cucumbers at the back. That one's growing along that ledge at the back there. So there is fruit still coming on. But not much. But we'll leave them in, you never know. So I've just been chopping back all the yellowy overgrowth from these cucumber plants, and I've revealed a bit of a treasure. Got some good specimens that were hiding at the back of those plants. I've got rid of 4 plants, and of the 4 that are remaining, there's some really good specimens that were hiding behind all that yellowy overgrowth, that leaf. I'll show you. If you look in there, there's a good 6 examples in there, and they're quite big as well. And over here, I think we've got a real whopper hiding at the back there. There are 4 there, but I think those two are quite big, like 16, 17 inch, something like that. I don't know, because one of them there looks to be about 19 inches long, that one. I'm gonna take them off and show you. Now I can't get all of this in shot, but I've just measured it. It's 21.5 inches, this. It's a whopper. I nearly dropped it then as well. Can't get it in shot, don't think. There we are. 21.5 inches. That's the biggest one. Its little brother is about 20, well, I've not measured it, but I'd say it's about an inch shorter. And then there are other ones that are around about the 16, 17 inch mark. We've got 6 altogether that we've just harvested, and there's another 4 that could be ready, but I'm going to leave on for a bit. And there are several more just starting off. I'm glad I didn't cut them out now. because there's some crackers. Those are the other ones, the other 5. And as I say, there's still quite a few good specimens on. Underneath there, there's a few. There's 2 more there, and one at the back. And they're still coming through, as you can see there. These are the cucumbers that are just starting off. So I think we've got another 3, maybe 4 weeks potentially on these, where we'll be probably getting about 6 a week, like this. Certainly for the next 2 or 3 weeks we'll be getting that, and then we'll probably get like 1 or 2 after that as we go into start of September. Yeah, hopefully. Anyway, so I've just given them a bit more room. These 4 plants that are left, I've just let them spread out, so where the vines are coming on, I'm just running them along the trellis work at the back there. Just started running it up that cane there, that one. So hopefully when we get, you'll get the new growth coming on, and we'll get hopefully, it's always hopefully, obviously, we'll get more cucumbers coming. But I was going to take these out. I was going to remove these plants about 2 weeks ago because I couldn't see any new growth coming on. But I'm glad I didn't, because now they are. They're going to get a feed, these as well. I'm going to give them some more of that. It's actually going to be the weed feed, you know, the unwanted weed that we started about 5 weeks ago. It's going to be that stuff rather than the comfrey. I'll see how that's getting on, actually. We'll check. Same with these plants here. The sun gold. We have a proliferation of sun gold coming through. I'm going to try and lift these vines off the floor, try and get them up there a bit. I'll have to tie them on, I think. Get some string if I've got some string, and just to lift them off the floor there, because they'd be no good actually lying on the floor. But we're getting quite a few on these. It's when I snipped them all off, stopped them growing upwards, the growing tips going upwards, then they do bush out. I was watching a guy talking about the tomato plants and nipping them out when they get to a certain height. These are about 5.5 feet high, these, and I've nipped them out just where they meet this bar. And I did that about 3 weeks ago, and I kept on top of any side shoots and stuff that may be coming on. And so what's happened then is they've bushed out, they've vined out, they've sent the vines out, which is what we want, isn't it? But there's plenty on there. There's a couple of 100 tomatoes knocking around on there. We've already taken probably 60 or 70 last time we came down. And they're still coming, which is good, which is brilliant. That's worth a thumbs up. It's worth a thumbs up, guys. Give it a like. We like the comments as well, so don't forget to comment, like, and if you're not already a subscriber, please consider subscribing. We want to get to 6,000 subs this year if we possibly can. We're already well over 1 million views. I think it's 1,014,000 views or something we're on now, which is fantastic. But yeah, we want the channel to grow, obviously. Not for the money side of it, because there isn't any money in it until you like get 1 million subscribers or something like that. But just so we can spread the word and build the community, you know. We like the interaction. We like the fact that you like us as well. So if you do, please give it a like and subscribe if you can. Okay, thanks very much. See you in a bit. Now, unfortunately, I can't find my funnel or my rubber gloves, so I can't decant the liquor out of the weed feed. You know, the plant feed we made with the weeds. So I can't decant it without getting covered in stinky brown liquid. So I'm going to do that one tomorrow. But I think I'll get some harvesting done actually on these tomato plants, because there's quite a lot that are ready for coming off. This is only like sort of 2, maybe 3 days later than the last time I did a picking on them. It's got quite a big picking at that stage as well, but I'm going to have to start picking these every time I come down. because that'll encourage new vining and new ripening on the tomatoes that are further up the plant. They tend to ripen up from the bottom up, generally speaking. These sun gold do especially. So yeah, let's get cracking on with that. See what I can get from this little harvest. I think when you read between the lines or read between the vines in here, we may have enough tomatoes to potentially fill this pot. So let's see how we get on. There's not quite a pot there. There's probably about just over 3/4 of a pot. But there's some weight to that, you know. That feels about a pound in weight. The tomatoes. These little baby cherry tomatoes. These sun gold tomatoes, by the way, are very succulent. They taste very nice. In fact, I want to take a couple more there. I don't tend to take the very little ones, but if you don't take them, they don't get eaten, so I might as well. I just like showing off to my kids with the bigger ones, but I'll get a few of the ones that are ready. Because once they ripen on the vine like that. If they go overripe, then they tend to burst, and it attracts flies, attracts fruit flies, and then you're plagued with fruit flies then. So I'm just going to remove them as I find them. But yeah, there's still tons of them coming on, look. And they're starting to blush up. So in the next, I would say 3 to 4 weeks before it starts dwindling a bit, probably by the end of August, they'll start to dwindle a bit. We're still going to be picking, and we'll probably be picking something like that every, probably about every 3-4 days. Something like that. We'll be picking off these for the next 3-4 weeks. Yeah, certainly till late August. Yeah, pretty pleased with those. They've all had a drink. The cucumbers have had a drink. The tomatoes have had a drink. They're going to get a bit of a feed, I think, tomorrow. When I get my gloves and my funnel. So we'll crack on. Now, as you probably heard when I was inside the polytunnel there's been pretty persistent drizzly rain. And it's off and on. It's just stopped now, so I've come outside. I'm going to try and get some of these onions out. In fact, I'm going to try and get them all out while there's a break in the rain. And as far as the weeding goes, I'm just going to have to do what I can with that. I'm going to do the side that adjoins Joe's, and check the side there that adjoins the... Oh, what's her name now? The calf. The lady on that side. I've got a crap memory these days. And then do the hedges hopefully today. So that's all I can do. It's going to take me a good hour to get those onions out though, so I better crack on. These are the Centurion on this side. Bit of weed there as well. But these are the Centurion onions, and they were quite closely planted, as you can tell there. There's only a couple of inches between them. So I'm going to try and get these out. Those are the Stuttgarter at the back, and they've all fallen over, so they'll want pulling as well. But I'll get these ones out. With the rains coming, I don't want to leave them in, because it will potentially spoil the onions that we might get white rot and what have you. So I'm going to try and get them out if I can, these. Right, leave me to it. I've just cleared off this racking here in Tiki Tunnel number 1, the original trampoline framed polytunnel. These are going to be used as drying racks or curing racks for these onions. I've only just pulled 8 up there, but it's just for illustration purposes, because I'm going to have to go out and get cracking with those onions properly. But I'm going to be putting them in here, in the racks. I'll show you. Hello there. So as the onions come out, they come out like that. You see the stems have fallen over. That means that they're ready for pulling, really, basically, when the stems fall like that. And you'll find, obviously, you've got the roots on there, and you've also got this brown, papery-like leaf growth on the top of it. What I usually do is, because I want to get rid of all the... I first give them a really good shake outside, and then I'll take these browning outer leaves off. Just peel them back like this. may as well trim them. Because I always trim the roots anyway. Some say yeah, some say nay for trimming the roots, but I always trim the roots just because it's neater. I don't want any dirt left on the actual vegetable itself. And all these outer leaves, the browning outer leaves, I pull them back and it cleans it up as you do that. You lose the top layer, but it doesn't really matter. They will go brown and papery anyway, these as they cure. What you can see there, that's this sort of pale green or white colour, as they cure, that will go brown. And when they have gone brown and papery, and you've got that outside brown paperiness, then it's good to go, good to store. But I trim them down like that as well. Only reason being is they fit easier in my lattice work that I've got there on the curing area. This curing shelf, they just slot better into the cubes, if you like. The cubular. I'm rubbish, answer. So you've got this, basically, you've got this mesh, this crisscross mesh, and the holes in it, excuse me, the holes in it are about 1 3/4 inches square, and the onions pop in there. I'll show you that. So that's our curing rack. This bit underneath will all dry out. It'll start at the bottom and start going brown all the way up, and the outer coating, if you like, the outer layer will go brown. But you can see there, I've tried to clean. You try and clean them up as best as you can, because any dirt that's left on there can potentially be detrimental to the onions, because you could still get potentially white rot on the onions. You don't want that. You want them to cure off so you can store them. We've only just, in fact, we've not even finished the onions from last year. We've still got about 2 or 3 left, I think. But in fact, I'm sure we've got 2 or 3 left, yeah, that we stored from last year, and they will keep. I mean, they've kept now for 7 months. The ones that we've got at home, if you store them properly, you tend to. I mean, we stored loads last year, and we'll be doing the same this year. But if you do it right, then you only lose, say, 10%. It'll start getting soft, whereas 90% won't. Yeah, we'll get through about 3 onions a week, because we don't eat massive amounts of onions, but we do eat about 3 a week, and we've got 240 plus really onions outside there, so we'll have enough really to tide us over. But that's what we're doing. So I'm going to hang them up there to cure over the next couple of weeks, and yeah, they'll be ready then for storage. Now, we've got a bit of a first world problem here, where we've become victims of our own success with these onions. These racks, spaced like that, can hold 70 onions. These 2 little racks there. They can hold 70 onions. I've worked it out. 35 per tray, if you like. So the problem there is that we've got far too many onions. We've got 240-ish onions, and that'll only hold 70 of them. So what I've done is I've created a new rack on the opposite side. The beauty of these trampoline framed polytunnels that me and Mick were creating, and I hope you're creating too, is that you've got these little slits or notches in the hoops above, and you've got these bars that run down the sides. So I've just zip tied this grid work to that, the metal grid work to that, come across. We're using the springs there, the trampoline springs down to hold it. Sorry about that, somebody was yelling at the allotment gate, so I've just shown them where to go. As I was saying, these metal grids, this metal mesh work, I always forget the name of this. Anyway, it's hanging via the trampoline springs that are hooked, that get hooked into these little slats, little slots. Yeah? And then if you tinker around with it, you get it at more or less the right height. I've just reinforced it there because it's bent, that grid work is bent, so, and it's still bent. But to get it something like straight, I've zipped side the bar. The metal bar is off one of those collapsible frame tents that you can get. You always get them and have them as a little grow tent, and then they fall apart when the wind gets to them. So these bars are off those. So I've just put the metal bar there. You can use some 15 millimetre copper pipe work if you're feeling flush. But you need something like that just to give it that bit of rigidity at the top. And then you just hang them off these. And they're easy to dismantle because all you have to do is lift that out, lift it, push that to one side on both sides, and it'll fold flat again once you've finished using it. In fact, I'll show you. Yeah, just folds back down out of the way. And if you wanted to, you could tie it all the way back, tie it onto the hoop at the sides if you want. But that just drops it out of the way, and it gives you a bit more space once you finish using it. But I'm going to put it back up so that we've got the two racks. And hopefully we'll have enough. We won't have quite enough, but we should have enough to put on about at least 160, 170. So we may be left with a few. And what I'm going to do then is with the smaller ones like these, the smaller onions, I'm just going to clear this off and lay them out on here to cure, lay them out flat on this bench to cure, the smaller ones, because we'll be eating them first. Just to store them, really. We'll just leave them for a couple of weeks and then get them distributed amongst friends and family. And then we'll be left with about 100, I think maybe about 180. I think when I work this one out, it can potentially take 110, 100, a little bit more maybe, about 114, because there's a bit of a cutaway there because it was in the way. It wouldn't lift up without that, so I had to trim it away so it can get around these brackets. But we'll have enough. Ideally, if it was all whole, you get 120 onions in there, but we'll probably get about 114, something like that, in there, and then 70 on this side. So yeah, it's going to be over 180 that we can hang up and prepare for long-term storage on the racking system. And then we'll probably have about 50 or so, 50, 55, something like that, of the smaller ones, which we'll be eating over the next month or so between family and friends. Clear as mud, that, isn't it? So let me crack on, because it is raining. It's raining off and on, so I want to get them in. I've only spotted a tiny little bit of the beginnings of white rot on one of the onions so far, so fingers crossed we're not going to be too bad. But if you leave them in these warm, wet conditions, which we're going to be getting over the next week or two, they'll start to go up then. They'll start to get the white rot, and you'll lose about 20% of your crop. So that's something to bear in mind. It's something to watch out for. Okay, let's get cracking. When I spoke about white rot before, that's the beginnings of it. It's just starting to take hold there on that onion. So I'm going to discard them because they are going to be... I doubt that they will store, basically. I mean, they'll dry out in here, so we're hoping that the white rot probably wouldn't spread too much, but they won't store. So I'm going to get rid of them. And this is part of the quality control. I'm going to get shut of them. Another good reason why you need to, why we peel off the outer layers is so that you can expose the bases where potentially the white rot might be occurring. And you can check it, and you can see there's a slight bit there, but I think that'll be okay. That'll pull round. It's just one of the onions we'll probably eat first, but I'll check on it. Keep checking it. Same with this one here. There's another one there with a slight touch of it. All the rest are spot on. But that's something that I'll keep an eye on. I'll just check that that's not going soft or anything. If it starts to go soft, I'll just bin it off. Same with that one. You can just keep an eye on it. It's all part of the quality control system for storing them, because you want them as perfect as you can keep them, really, for long-term storage. So because I'm doing like 12 at a time, I'll do 12 and then pick up the detritus and trash, take it to the composting bin and dispose of it on the way, because I kind of pass it. I don't really pass it, but I kind of pass it on the way back to where the onion bed is. So it's just a matter of housekeeping, keeping on top of that. Okay, so out of the 120 centurions that we planted, we've got 101 that have either survived, because there's about 6 that didn't survive, and then the rest that didn't really pass muster. So we've got 101. Now I may well lose about another 6 or 7 of those, and I'll show you what I mean. Now essentially this is sick bay. Potentially, although it's not really soft, that's not great. Same with these. They've had a touch of white rot, these. Not bad, but a touch of. So we'll see how drying out it goes. See if they dry out okay. And they might be alright. But that'll knock us down to 97. And out of these ones here, which are the small ones that I'm not putting on the racks, there's another, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Now there may be some of those, probably about 3 of those, that are not going to make muster. But I reckon it's going to be around about 95. Now, with 120 going in, yeah, 120 going in, you would normally expect losses of about a quarter. So however many you put in, you'd expect to lose really about 25% of that. But we haven't lost 25%, not yet anyway. And I'm hoping that the majority of these will pull through. You know, it's got to be, I would say that there'd be about 95, guaranteed 95, maybe more. Depends on the quality of those ones, you know, the small ones that are not going on the racks. But that's all the centurions. That is the fall of Rome. You always get casualties, you know. But we'll see if they've won the battle against the Germans, the Germanic tribes, in the form of the Stuttgarter. But that'll be for another day. I grossly underestimated the time it would take to pull those onions, take them up to the top inside here, peel them, clean them, de-root them, trim the stems a bit. I underestimated that time. It took about 3 hours that for 120 onions to be processed. About 3 hours that. It's 3 minutes per onion. Isn't it? No, it's not. 120 onions, 3 hours, which is 180 minutes, isn't it? About a minute and a half per onion. But it takes quite a bit of time up that, really, to be honest. But I like the quality, so have another look. There's 66 onions on that rack there. 70 if you include the sick bay. And then on this rack we've got about, I think there's about 18. Is there something like that on here? So that's 88, and then we've got those there. Oh no, so 86. And then we've got those there. There's how many were there? Did we say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So there's 101 altogether. These are a couple that didn't make the grade because I didn't favour them. That's looking weird. I'm not too sure that that's going to make the... Well, it's not, so I'm going to chuck that one. Don't like the look of that one, although it's a decent size. And that one there, that's got the white rot as well. I mean, I could chance them, but I don't want to. I want to make sure. And these ones I've separated from the other ones just in case the white rot can spread. I'm not 100% sure it can, but I've quarantined them a bit from the other ones, which are in fantastic condition. I always leave about 10 to 12 inches a stem. Some leave the full stem on, but I don't. Don't ask me why. I will be doing some of them on the Stuttgarter with long stems, and I'll put them at the front because they're easy. It's difficult to feed them through the racking system, but when they've got really long tails, that's part of the reason I don't do it. But yeah, it doesn't really affect the storage. As long as you leave enough stem for it to die back and dry back. It dries back to the bulb, basically. And then when it's, I mean, you could still plait them if you wanted to. There's enough length there, there's about 12 inches there to plait them. But I don't do the full stems. I am going to be doing, though, just as a bit of an experiment, on the front ones here with the Stuttgarter. I'm probably going to do about 40 with the long stems left on. All right, guys and girls, you've been beautiful, fragrant and fantastic if you're a lady. You've been forthright, virile and masculine if you're a gentleman. And if you've been something in between, you've been something in between. Doesn't matter as long as you're a good person. And we love you all. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to comment, like and subscribe if you really like what we're doing. We want to get to 6,000 subscribers by the end. I think we've got about 120 or something like that to go. So yeah, if we can make that, that'd be fantastic, wouldn't it? For me. For me ego, you know. But also for you. Don't forget to hit that bell notification as well so you don't miss another exciting episode with me, Guru Mafinda, down here in Eden's Plots. Keep growing with your heads down, that's the key. If I don't see you through the week, I'll see you through the winter. I might come on and do one tomorrow, depending on the weather, because I do need to get a lot of weeding done. So I might just get on with the weeding. But, yeah, take care, God bless, and keep growing with your heads down. Tatty bye, guys. Bye-bye now. I'll leave you with those beautiful cucumbers. Have a good one, boys and girls. Ta-da now.